What are some of the inequalities that show up in the home buying process? There's a lot of inefficiencies and unfortunate turmoil within the market when it comes to just helping certain communities achieve the American dream of home ownership and financial stability.
From, throughout going through the process in real estate, you have to qualify for a loan, right? In order to be approved, in order to even buy a home. In order to do that, you have to, have your income in order. You have to have your credit in order. Most people within the Black community, within the minority community, they have no clue how to even start on that journey, right? And so they're already at a disadvantage.
Some of those inequalities are steering in terms of realtors not really showing some folks all of the opportunities that they can in terms of where they can live and where they were able to, acquire homes. And again, that, almost builds in racial segregation, which again, we've as a society decided is not really good for us overall. And so how do we make sure that those things are prominent and that they're not affecting, certain communities? And so, yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done.
We weren't very happy with our first realtor. I felt like she wasn't hunting enough or didn't have a sense of urgency that we did. And it's very important for someone to find someone that you feel that you're ultimately comfortable with, and they're not just telling you how things are going to go, that they're actually communicating back and forth with you. That was the major challenge for us. And one of the things that we do, and I do recommend, is you research the person who's shopping for you. We did some background on her, and while she seemed to have great reviews, they were all particularly people that looked like her. And we immediately noticed that all the feedback that she had gotten, we weren't exactly feeling the same way. It almost seemed like she was kind of gearing us to a particular type of neighborhood. So we immediately just parted ways with her and found someone that was a lot more amicable. And I think that's a part of what I was saying before. You have to find someone you're comfortable with. Not necessarily a person that may look like you, but someone who has a shared interest in you getting what you need.
People have their biases, and as an agent, my job is to protect my clients, is to always be be their representative out there, put out their best picture, really show their financials as opposed to showing their color, so that they can be protected from some of these disparities and these actions on against them. Obviously, when you show up at an appointment, you are who you are. But another trick to me is building a relationship with, if I'm on representing a buyer, building a relationship with the agent, the selling agent, so that they're seeing me as someone who's going to be productive, someone who's going to be supportive of getting this transaction to the finish line. And that way, again, their personal demographics won't come into play, because these people know that I'm a strong representative for my client, and my clients are definitely prepared and willing to get to the finish line.
The reality is there's a lot of bias that exists that people don't understand that they have. I can't tell you how many times that I show up at a showing appointment and the listing agent will immediately introduce themselves to my clients, and then my clients have to point and say, but she's our representative. Recognizing and undoing some of the baseline implicit biases people have can only come from communication.
Yeah, where you live is significantly important to the quality of your life. We're talking access to healthcare, hospitals, clinics, centers that, therapy centers, the quality of schools. Tax receipts are actually super important to being able to fund schools. So if you don't have, living in a great place with decent tax base that can support the funding for the schools that your kids are going to, that puts the education aspect at a lower tier. The ability to gain home equity and financial stability right? On the financial aspect of wealth building, again, that is significantly important to where you live and home ownership.
Despite what your goals and dreams are, I think it's important for us to also keep in the forefront what's important, right? Yes, we're going to fight for generational wealth because we need that, because that's how we ensure that our children and our children's children and our children's children will have that quality of life. So we've got to make some sacrifices up front.
Financial literacy and financial education, and even, budgeting when it comes to trying to procure home ownership is critical, because a lot of people, again, they don't understand that the way your bank statements look are a factor in underwriting. So, it's not just about you having a certain amount of money in your bank when you go to underwriting. It's about the historical of, have you ever had NFS, overdrafts? Do you keep a certain amount of money in your bank account consistently, or does it fluctuate very dramatically? So all that stuff, I know My Home Pathway is definitely going to impart that kind of education and that support system to these buyers. I think that's critical, because it helps people to understand that, being a homeowner or acquiring a home isn't just about when you get to that point where you have your 5, 10, or 20% down. It's really about what your financial picture looks like when you present it to the bank, because they're going to look at 6 months to a year of your information.
For me, I've always been super focused on helping others. And, again, being in banking for quite a long time, about 15 years in different capacities, access has been a challenge, right, for a lot of folks. And how do you create the ability for more people to be a part of the American dream, right? And to actually have, fair access to products and services that they should have. If we can help more people just become smarter around their personal finances, that helps them in the long term, right? And then that helps on the other side with all the other stakeholders, right, that are all in the mortgage and this financial services industry. So end of the day, it's all outcomes. So if you look at outcomes for certain communities, they haven't improved. And so there's got to be better ways for us to actually effectively change outcomes kind of within our current infrastructure, right? So that really was what I was focused on. How do we move the needle and stop talking about moving the needle? Because everybody talks about it and recognizes it, but haven't done anything. So for me, it's, taking words and putting into action and being super focused on outcomes.